on the same page. Everybody knows which facilities are being rented and when they're available. It really kind of helps us be able to manage this more efficiently, rather than me writing stuff down and trying to keep track of 100 spreadsheets, and then, 20 years from now when I win the lottery and move to Tahiti, somebody else has to do this. Because honestly, that was a challenge. When I started here, I felt really, in a lot of ways, like I was starting from scratch. But a system like this would allow us to be able to manage all of this in a centralized place. Multiple people are going to be trained on it. And, so we can do programs, we can do rentals, memberships, volunteer opportunities. The system can manage those as well. So I know there's been some discussion about, people in the community need some help, or organizations, we can use the volunteer management board on here to either recruit volunteers for city events, or however we really want to do it. It's extremely flexible. I know some cities who are even smaller than us, where really the only event spaces are spaces at their school. They have all of those spaces listed here, and then you can put policies in there, you can put waivers in there, you can put permits if people need permits, if we need to have them acknowledge that if you have so many people, you have to have security, you can put that in the system as well. So it's really, really robust, and it's really flexible, and I'm really excited that we have it. But we actually should be finished with the configuration of this by the end of this month. I had hoped to have some time to demonstrate this to you today, but I got here too late to set up my projector. But if you want to go out and look at some of these cities, if you want to see how any city is running this program, if you just go out to Google and Google rec1.com, any city who's running this software will come up, because that is the web-based system that it's all based off of. It's single sign-on with Civic Plus, which is our existing web server, our existing web program that's hosting our website. So anyone who is signed up there can be here. The nice part also, I wanted to throw this out here as a parent. If I sign my kid up for babysitting class on Tuesday nights for 5 weeks or whatever it is, this system can talk to my Google Calendar. So when I'm at the doctor's office, I don't have to log in to the system to find out when did I sign my kid up for this. It talks to my Google Calendar, and I can just pull that up and say, oh, we signed up for this class. So it's really nice from a parent perspective, how convenient that would be. And then you can easily see, how many spaces are available. For example, I looked in this particular city, and I was hoping to demonstrate, but they have an ice cream social where their community space can hold 162 people. So you can see, if I'm trying to see how many spaces are available, can I sign up for this? It shows that 98 people have already signed up, and there's so many spaces left for that particular event at that particular time. So not only does it help me as a guest, but also as a city employee to know, well, what is the interest, in this event or whatever? Do we need to continue it? Should we cancel it? It also has an instructor portal. So if I contract, or if we contract with someone to teach the babysitting class, and we agree to pay them, a percentage or whatever, however we work that out, then this system can manage that as well. And with specific contracts, and then it's tied to general ledger numbers. So we just pull reports and say, okay, this person taught this many classes, and we owe them this much, and we already have the revenue, and it's easy peasy. So I'm really excited to have this in place, and I didn't actually know all this until I started training, so I'm really excited about it. But I think this will be awesome, and it'll really help us, especially since we're a small shop, to be able to really expand our scope of what we can offer to the community with very minimal effort on the part of our staff, as far as getting this organized and getting it out to the community and allowing people the ability to sign up and participate. So I'm excited about this.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Black. Oh, sorry. Ms. Zorb.
I'm just everyone tonight. Everyone but me. I'm gonna put my name.
How does that make you feel?
I know, right?
I was just curious, what options are there for any of our residents who are not digitally connected?
That's a great question. They can actually call in, and there is an interface that a city employee like myself, or a program coordinator here, or if we had a youth program coordinator, can manually register that person online. We can either invoice them or they could pay when they get here. So those are those day-to-day operations, things that we're working through outside of the technology, and we are having those conversations, trust me. But because to your point, there are some folks who are going to walk up to us with a $20 bill and say, I want to do this. So we have to be prepared to handle that. And we had a meeting a couple weeks ago, I want to say, where we talked about the cash receipt process for recreation, because this, in a way, it's kind of new territory for us, as far as we've done this sort of thing before, but recreation being a potential revenue stream versus just an expense, there's a whole other can of worms as far as process and how do we receive payments, how do we write receipts, who receives payments, how do we secure those payments, all those things are in discussion right now. So we are working through those.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Blank.
one of my main concerns would be in a proper deposit so that when they finish using the building, it is back in the same way it was when they began using the building. That's
the
my
beauty of
biggest
contracts.
issue. Yes, contracts
And rental agreements.
and deposits,
And
sufficient
deposits.
deposits to cover damages. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Ms. Alexander.
me.
Oh, DeWalt.
I just wanted to put a time on this. We have 5 minutes left, and we haven't even begun old and new business. Do you think we could kind of cut it off? And
I
let's
get
on to it?
excited. I get
Well,
passionate
I
about
know-
my
I
things.
understand.
And
There's
so
information.
I do want to be mindful of the time. If you do have any further questions, please feel free to email me, or I
Okay.
encourage you, to research this software and kind of play around with it. There's several cities using it. It'd be easy to kind of poke around. And
Sure.
so anyway, I
Thank
can
you.
be done.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Wait,
your
she has her
report.
Q&A, but that's up to the chairperson,
Black-
like I
Guilty
said.
as charged for asking too many questions. Apologize, Mr. Wall. I was the
No, okay, it's
question
not one
machine.
person. It was a whole room of us, but can we just move on to the...
Thank you,
This
Ms.
is
Clear,
life.
for that report and that update. Do anybody have any more questions for Ms. Clear?
I do not.
Okay. Any old business? Well, I have a little old business from the last agenda from the renters registration funds. And as you guys know, I'm new to the board, so I haven't seen any documents supporting this. Where should this money go? What should we do with this money? Or where is this money going? So, anybody can feel free to email me or text me with some information, and I will look further and I will dig and see what's going on with this, because I've heard that the money could go for plumbing, for homes, recreation, or making repairs on buildings. So it's just such a big, huge, gray area here. So I'm gonna endeavor to look into this and see what I can come up with, and see what I can find and keep it on the agenda, hopefully. Any new business?
I do.
Mr.
Chucker. I want to talk about the minutes that are being reported for the committee meetings. This last one for, I think there's no date on it, for the May 8th meeting. I know that it's become a practice to put initials in for everyone instead of putting their names. But in this one, it says JL will follow up. We don't have a JL. So 20 years from now, if they go to cross-reference to see who that is, they're not going to know. And it's all the way through with using initials. And I think perhaps we should get back to the more proper form of minutes, because these are kept forever and ever, and put in full names. Even if it's just the last name.
I'll take responsibility for that.
I'm not pointing fingers.
No, I'm not
know.
saying you did. I just, if it was me, it was me.
I'm pointing fingers. It's me. This thing, I just
It was,
took all the minutes and
I
it's
was
all
rather
initials.
new in doing the
I-
committee, and Ms. Zorb was graciously giving me the minutes, and I was just trying to get all the info out, and I should have switched it over
With-
to the actual names.
But I apologize because I wasn't pointing names. I wasn't pointing fingers.
No, I didn't take it that way.
It's just that it's been going on for a while. So when
And that
people
makes
got to look
sense
at
what you're
this 20
saying.
years, they're going to say, who is that? And why should they have to cross-reference? So. And then,
What was the initial that you couldn't find?
I'm sorry?
What was the initial that was in there?
JL. Now, I know I have a cataract, but if I look really hard, I can see that's an L.
Was it supposed to be maybe Jennifer, and it
Yeah,
accidentally?
that's just it. This was 2 weeks ago, and we don't know who it is.
Oh, I don't have any point of reference. That's why I can't figure it out.
And the other
Okay.
thing I wanted to bring up, for the committee chairs, if they could get us the minutes earlier and the agenda earlier so that we have an opportunity to stop at the city center and print things off. I don't like printing this from my house. I shouldn't have to. So if they could, there's a time frame for council minutes and agendas to get to us so we can read it in an appropriate time. But if we could have the agenda even by Saturday, that would help us tremendously. That gives us anybody time to go to the senior center. Of course, we'll be in soon again, but I know it's all on the computer, but some people like me and about 5 others on council like paper copies. So if we could get those minutes earlier, I appreciate it. And agendas. I'm done. 7:30. Boom.
Thank you, Mr. Watt. Mean adjourn.
I'd like to get started with our Budget and Finance Committee meeting. Before we go on to our agenda, Mary Jo, I did send you the Word document, but I haven't gotten minutes from you from the previous meeting. Were you taking notes? I thought you were.
Probably.
Okay.
I'm sure it has initials in it.
Okay. So if you don't mind, if you,
UMD, so it's not gonna look pretty
I'm a bit behind on minutes. If you can send me what you have,
You bet.
and then I'll make sure we get updates. And then I actually would like to apologize in advance for my late agenda. Both Miss Iki and I we were on vacation at the same time. And so our first day to get together was today. So I will do better. And then our first item on the agenda is actually executive session. So can someone please make a motion to move into executive session? And I do not know how that looks in this room, in this building.
I move to go into executive session
For what purpose?
for West Belmar.
It'll be for the purpose of discussing pending litigation or possible or pending litigation.
Okay, for possible or pending litigation.
I'll second.
Okay.
Need to have a vote. Right, you have a first and a second.
Okay, we'll take a vote. Go ahead.
Yes.
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 Members of council, we can adjourn to the back room for executive session if you like. I have it set up.
8:27, and we can just come out of it. We don't have to do anything else. So the next thing on our finance committee agenda is mid-year appropriations, and I will actually let Jennifer take mid-year appropriations and audit update and prep.
Perfect. And this is really just for your informational purposes. We intend to bring you a mid-year appropriation for some things that were not included in the 23 budget, and for some line items that have costs that have gone up, like our utility bills. So staff has been working on putting that together, and we hope to have that for council at the July meeting, which would be the next council meeting, so that we could take a look at kind of where we are at the year. Along with that, we are also prepping, as you well know, for the audit, which we expect to start sometime mid-July now. You guys have had some documents. Some of you have returned them to me. If you have not returned your statements to me for the audit purposes, please do so quickly. We do need to provide that information to the auditors before they actually arrive on site. So that's
When are they on site again? I'm sorry.
sometime mid-July. We do not have a definite date yet.
Okay. And then the fourth thing on our agenda is our fire department and ambulance. So it came to my understanding per Miss Iki that the fire department wants to purchase or needs to purchase an ambulance. They want to lock in the interest rate now, so that if the interest rates go through the roof, that we will have it on lock for 2023 and purchase in 2024, correct?
Correct.
And then we wouldn't start paying on it until we actually got it, and it wouldn't even come in until 2024, correct?
Correct.
Now, I think we talked about this in our meeting, and I don't know if you had an opportunity or if you got an answer back. Was that on the budget for fire initially when they gave us for 2023? So
not for this year, because no payments were expected to be made, but
until 2024.
Correct. So
Okay, but he did mention
the replacement of the vehicle.
Yep.
Yes, was
Yes,
discussed.
I do remember that he mentioned that we would need a new ambulance.
Yeah. This would be an addendum to the master lease for the fire truck, which we're also expecting to get next year. So it would be financed through the same bank, Republic Bank. Right now, the interest rate, I think they quoted us, was 4.97% versus some of the other bids that we got over the last 30 days were at about 9 or 10%. So it's a favorable rate for today's market. If the rates drop, we could not take the financing package that's offered to us today, and we could refinance if interest rates in 2024 are 2%, we would obviously cancel this and get new financing somewhere else, because we would not have taken receipt of the vehicle yet.
So the other question I have, the bank, did you vet the bank or did he vet the bank?
I think between the finance director and Chief Fells, they got a bunch of different, 3 or 4.
And that is foundationally on, that interest rate is foundationally on our new credit standing as a city, because I know we had Fifth Third kind of give us where they thought we were and said that if we had like some things come in, which those things have now, checkpoint came in, that we would be projectively higher, and they kind of put us low on purpose. So is that in consideration of that, or is that just kind of the best going rate we can get right now?
This is the best rate we've been able to find. Fifth Third chose not to provide a financing package at this time.
No. But they didn't want to give us financing because they said that we're too small. And they just work with larger cities, but they did at least give us our financial credit health, and when we went out to find other lending. So I just wanted to make sure it was based on that financial health, and I don't want to say make sure. I wanted to know if it was based on those actual numbers, or is this, they're just offering this to us as a city or municipality?
We had to provide the 2022 financials. So it's based on the most up-to-date information that they have.
Okay, fair enough. And then if you don't have anything else on that.
Not on the ambulance. If council wants to lock in this interest rate, we do need to move on it pretty quickly. The bank is holding the rate through the end of this week. I'm not sure that you could make a vote in a committee meeting. We could ask for an extension through the first week in July if they would be willing to do that. But that would mean that council would have to pass
That
a
extra meeting.
resolution authorizing the financing package at that meeting. So it would have to come as an emergency.
So with the follow-up, if you don't mind asking if they would do it through the first week of July, and then if they're not, then we'll work on getting a special meeting so that we can vote on that. I think everybody would be amenable to that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. We
So just
will
let me know, and we'll,
do that.
or who schedules special meetings?
You do.
You
Okay.
can as the committee chair.
Okay. All right. and
Madam
then-
Chair,
Yes.
on the same issue with are we done with the ambulance?
Yeah.
Okay, on the same issue as the ambulance then, it's really important. I don't think anyone here is saying no to it. It's really important to maintain this turnover of ambulances so that we can always make sure that within a certain amount of time, we're going to have another ambulance. When we didn't, this wasn't possible at one time, and I actually had a friend that was shipped to Good Sam, and it broke down on the highway. So that didn't look good. But it's just a good practice to have, that continually look forward to when you're going to purchase the next one.
The ambulance that would be replaced is a 2014 unit, so it
There you
is
go.
10 years old. I think it has about 100,000 miles on it, but Chief L says you can times that by 3 for the number of idle hours that run the engine. And it is the backup unit. It's not the newer one is the 2019. So that's always the first one to respond. But if that's already out, this secondary one goes next.
Okay. And then I'm gonna
Yeah.
put new business on as our next agenda item, but Miss Egan and I had spoken about a couple items that she might bring up here if need be. So I want to give her that space to talk about those if she is able to or wants to, and then we can move to all of us if anyone else has new business.
I just wanted to circle back on the presentation we saw, I believe, at the last council meeting on the energy aggregation program. Council, the request was, do we want to put this on the ballot for the citizens to vote on whether or not we would be able to aggregate gas and electric for them? We are up against the ballot deadlines the same way we are for the senior center levy. It's all August 9th. So if we wish to put that on the ballot so folks can vote, yes, we'd like to be, we'd like the opportunity to be in an aggregation program or not. We do need to pass that legislation as well so that we can get it filed with the county. We had the presentation from Mr. Dan Dieters. Like I said, I think that was back at the May council meeting. And we saw the presentation, we got the information, and we haven't had any discussion on it. So.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I wanted to ask this question. If we sign that contract, will our citizens that want to stay with Duke, is it the same concept that they will either have to send a letter to Duke or go online at Duke to not be a part of the contract? I
They
can't
can opt out of it
but they would either need to send a letter to Duke or go
call 'em.
online and opt out.
or online.
But that doesn't mean that they would automatically be opted in to the
Yes,
program
it does.
involuntarily.
Yes.
You're
have to opt
automatically
out.
opted in, and then you have to actively opt out.
Okay, will that be explained to the citizens?
Yes, that would go out in the marketing materials that we would send out in advance
To all
of
the
the election.
citizens? Okay.
So the first step, if we
Okay,
wanted to
gotcha.
offer this, is we have to become certified as an aggregator, and that's what the citizens would vote on in November. So if it's on the ballot, it's yes, I would like the city of North College Hill to become an aggregator, yes or no. So if they say yes and we get enough yes votes, then we can have the conversation about moving forward. We can also have that, they could also vote yes, and the city could then still choose not to become an aggregator. This would be the first step to even have that conversation.
So are you looking for council to give you like an idea of if we support that? I can tell you I would support it.
I mean, would you like to, we can have the legislation prepared for your review, but again, this is going to be something given that, you know, if you read this as a first reading in July, it would need to be an emergency because it would need to be passed by August at the latest, because that only gives us 2 days to get everything down to the county. So if you'd like to see the legislation, we can have it prepared for the July meeting. If you don't, then we'll just not do it.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So if we could have it by the July meeting and then make a decision on when we would have a special meeting to get a second or third reading on that to get it done, so you would have more than 2 days to get it all together, right?
Or we could just suspend the reading.
Yeah, we can just suspend the reading.
On the first reading?
Yes.
If we had it by July and then by August, we could suspend all the rest of the readings and vote on it.
That, all right. But that only gives them 2 days then.
I mean, we'll have it, if we can have it teed up and ready to go if this is going to go into the August meeting, in the event that it passes.
August meeting.
Is I think the 7th.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
you could always, if that were the case, if the August deadline was the issue, maybe at the top of one of the committee meetings, you have one of your special meetings.
And that's why I think we talked about that on the phone, putting it on committee.
Because you're the next
so
one.
it wouldn't go out into the August end date.
Yeah. So there's ways to get that in a timely fashion. So I'd be fine with that if you are fine with that, to just get the legislation prepared.
Okay.
And then, did you have one more, I think, or no?
I think that was it.
Okay. Did you have one?
No, I really do. I think that was it.
Okay. Does anyone else have new business? Okay. So I'm going to move on to old business. I have one for old business. So upon us talking about the fire department and the ambulance, I don't know if you all remember both the police chief and fire chief telling us that we would have those grant monies, and I had asked Miss Iki where that stood, and so both the fire department and the police department actually got the funds, but they're going through like preliminaries and paperwork to make sure that we kind of in hand secure the funds. So in lieu of the new ambulance, I know that, well, did you say that those funds could only be used for payroll?
I think those are for salaries in the grants that police and fire were awarded, but I will have to double check on the specifics, but that is my recollection.
And so let's just take into account that that's true. That still gives us a huge relief in our budget in terms of salaries and you know, pay, to make room for larger purchases like this. So I just want to keep that in mind. The finance department and Ms. Iki are working very diligently to make sure that we provide those grant providers whatever they need to kind of comply, to make sure that those finances are put in our city
Madam
accounts.
Chair.
Yes.
My question is for Ms. Vanderberg. Do you recall if the police, if their spending was a little bit more?
I believe police was a little less.
Or but they could spend it on additional things besides just salaries? Why do I think that?
I think they had some training dollars as well.
Okay.
Because they both actually had, now that you say that, I actually
Yeah.
think they both had training dollars.
I thought it was 2 or 3 things that they could spend on, but I thought the police had a little bit more leeway with their funding.
I believe they're able to do some like longevity, not longevity, but bonus or sign-on bonus.
Okay.
Type of,
Bonuses.
yes.
Yeah.
New hire.
Okay.
I can
And unless anyone else has any more old business, we already talked about the air conditioner. I was going to put that there. Miss Iki informed us, for those of you that missed it, I think you were out of the room, Mary Jo, that Monday or Tuesday is going to be here, and we're hopeful that it's not damaged. And then the crane has to show up and put it on top of the roof. So, are you guys, anybody else have any old business?
So wait a minute, say that timeline to me again?
So Monday or Tuesday, it's supposed to, the unit itself will be delivered. And that is
Installed Monday, Tuesday.
installed.
Delivered
Monday or
and
Tuesday. So
installed
it's delivered and
Monday
installed.
and Tuesday.
Monday and Tuesday is delivery and install. And that's predicated upon the crane being here to be able to put it on the roof to install. So if no one else has anything,
I'm trying to understand how the council fell into that.
because we asked for an update on the air condition.
I mean, like council meetings. Sorry, I wasn't clear.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't
So
really
we don't
come
have
into
another
play.
Monday to, it really
No.
doesn't.
No.
Oh. Did we talk about the senior bill?
We did in another committee. They did.
I know, but I remember. All right, no worries. Moving on.
She went through a whole regression in her head. Did you see it?
Miss Ike.
2 comments.
Ike, I'm sorry.
Whatever. Just Jennifer, I told you guys. Ladies.
We received an email about when the power was going to be out.
Yes, that was one of my comments. So the third time's a charm, hopefully. Duke will be out Thursday night to replace the pole that got damaged in front of the city building about, I don't know what we're going on, 8 weeks ago now. This has been rescheduled twice. And so they're doing it at night now because we were inconvenienced the first time when their crew didn't show up and do the right things. So, knock on wood, fingers crossed, toes crossed, all those things, that we will have a new pole outside the building running into to service our building. But that does mean everything is shut down Thursday night, beginning at about 9 or 10 o'clock. The servers are going down. The power to the building will be out. The gas pumps won't work. Everyone's been notified. We're doing the same drill as last time. But for our 24-hour emergency services, they do need to plan ahead. And so that's why it has taken a little bit of time to get this coordinated with Duke, so that we had enough time to prepare and make sure the servers were taken down safely, so we don't, have any backup issues with our data, and everyone can make the appropriate accommodations for gas and fuel between the hours, because it's expected to be out for 8 hours.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that was one of the things I had on old business, but I forgot to mention.
And Miss Ike, do we know how large of a surrounding area that may affect?
Just our building.
Just the building?
Just
Great.
our building. Yep.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have an old business question. I think, well, it is budget related. Mayor Nichols, are we still on hold for our electronic sign? There's so much going on. I didn't know if
This, as
been
you guys
placed
know,
on hold.
The sign is here, but they were in the process of looking for someone to build the platform that the sign would go on. I know there was a couple of vendors that they looked into.
I'll check with Public Works and see where we are on that. Yeah, we've that's beyond their scope of what they're able to do.
Yeah, okay, just crossed my mind. Okay, thank you.
But we do have it.
Hopefully we can get it up before the end of July.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
tree committee question. Is our Christmas tree surviving? Is it doing much better? Anyone from the tree committee? Ms. Zorb?
No comment.
Uh-oh.
Is there any chance we could get the president of the tree committee to respond to that?
Testing.
We'll need to
leaning
circle
as
back
much.
on that.
Or whatever tree. Holiday Christmas tree. How is our holiday Christmas tree doing? Is it surviving okay?
We have been watering it, but there are issues.
I will say this, when I came back from vacation, it's not leaning as much.
That's because we straightened it.
Because I was like, my son was like, what's up with that tree? I was like, I have no idea. And then when we came back, it wasn't leaning as much.
So I guess on a serious note, what does that mean as far as payment?
Has the payment been made?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
Is there something in the contract where they were like the
That's
first
just-
like 60 days? we
Services under warranty? Are there services
just-
under warranty for the tree?
I think we're getting into an area that we should not talk
get-
about
Oh,
in
yeah,
an
that's
open
the
meeting.
budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
I
sorry.
was just gonna say new company. So
Well,
Alright.
if all hearts and minds are clear, we will adjourn at 8:49. Thank you.
Thank you.